Welcome back to another edition of the City That Never Sleeps show. I'm your host, Brandon Pockris, joined as always by my co-host, Ryan Toomey. Toomey, I'm not doing great today. As we can see here, I'm wearing a New Jersey Devils jersey, but you're probably doing great. So how are you doing?
It's been a great week in sports, right? It's been a hell of a day, hell of a couple of days, and no, nothing to complain about right now, and it gives us a lot to talk about, and that's the best part of it. So, can't wait to get into it.
Hockey's going to be a little bit later in the show, but Rangers letdown, baby, Game 7. Oh, my goodness gracious. I swear. Oh, but there is a lot of New York news. as my mind just wanders because I am just still distraught over last night. NFL draft. As much as we hyped it up, guess what? It's done. It came and it went. We're going to dive into what the Jets did, what the Giants did, and how that impacts their teams going forward. We're going to be diving into NBA round 2. Who's up? Who's down? We're going to be talking a lot of Knicks, and we're going to have Mr. Evan Lawler on the show once we arrive at that point. Going to give his bets for round 2 and for this upcoming game 2 matchup for the Knicks. We're going to obviously talk about hockey and round 2 and how different teams are going to move forward. But 2 of the 3 New York, New Jersey, metro area teams are out of the playoffs now. 1 remains. And we got baseball. And a bit underrated, there's a lot to talk about the New York Yankees and the New York Mets. And the team that you may think is or would be struggling more is not. Damn, Ted already chime in. Down goes Kane, down goes Tarasenko. I hate both teams. All I got to say from here on out, let's go Hurricanes. Never thought I'd say that in my life. But yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm wearing the Devils jersey, so I'm saying let's go Canes. I think it's time, good as time as ever to jump into NFL draft, though. So we're going to start with Jets. I'll give the floor to you, Tommy, before we dive into any specific picks, any specific thing that happened. Your thoughts on the New York Jets draft class?
Obviously, our thoughts in the moment were a little different. Watching the draft, we got to see it, but in the moment, we got to see. It was a bit of a shock seeing Will McDonald's name go after. I'm going to talk about Jets first, I guess. Will McDonald going first to us. But really, as time comes to think about it, you never know what these guys are going to do. I like it. He's an athlete. And it was a need. Another DN. Hey, get another guy on the line. It fits really well in a solid scheme. I think you'll agree with that comment. And I really feel like they hit their needs too in the draft, which is really good to see. Getting 2 O-lines with the next 2 picks after that. I know you have a ton of more to say about just from my outside perspective and looking in. I feel like it's a success, but truly you never know until you see these guys in camp, see them in action, getting live reps. My biggest thing with the Jets, it really doesn't even have to do with the draft. We can get into it later. But it's just seeing Aaron Rodgers working in the offseason right now with the guys. That's awesome to see. But you're the draft guy, man. I mean, you would know a lot more about these guys than I do. But from my perspective, I can't complain with what I see, with the names looking down. I like the depth. I like having depth. That means you're in a good position if a team's getting depth. So please give me your insight. Teach me.
I'm nowhere near a draft guy yet. That's a goal. That's definitely a goal, but nowhere near that point yet. But, it's so interesting looking at a team's draft because everyone always reacts after night 1 and always reacts, oh, this pick's great, this pick's bad. 1, it's before the entire draft class is even done. And number 2, it's before we even see these guys on the field, how the teams can utilize them. Maybe they're better in specific aspects in the NFL. Maybe they're worse. We don't know until we see them on the field. And I think that's the number one thing that we need to keep in mind here. We don't know yet. We don't know how these players are going to translate. We don't know how these players are going to truly fit into their roles as NFL players. And that brings us to our question of the day. Our poll question. You guys can agree or disagree. A New York player will place top 3 in offensive or defensive rookie of the year. Agree or disagree? Now, that obviously includes the Giants and Jets, but focusing on the Jets here. Their first round pick. We watched night 1 together in Atlantic City, Toomey, and we had a bit of a reaction to that Will McDonald pick right off the bat, because going into the draft, I was guilty of this as well. Offensive line, whether it was Jalin Carter, or not Jalin Carter, but that would have been a great guy to fall. Broderick Jones, Paris Johnson, Peter Skoronski, even Darnell Wright. The focus was bolstering that offensive line to make sure that Aaron Rodgers is protected, to make sure that you're not running into an issue where you're trotting out. You're a 5th string guy off the street offensive tackle when you're playing meaningful football games in December, in January. That can't happen. But the way the board falls, Broderick Jones gets selected by Pittsburgh because of that pick swap you make in the Aaron Rodgers move, which, guess what, comes back to bite you. New England's now in front of you. New England, of course, doesn't want to help their division rival. Trades out the pick. Pittsburgh comes in, picks the last offensive lineman. Darnell Wright goes earlier than expected. Skoronski goes to Tennessee. Maybe you thought he would fall. You're now in a position where, and this is where I was sitting with it. I'm going with JSN to bolster that receiver room, to ensure that that is a strength for years to come. Or I'm going with Kalijah Kancey, finally getting an interior defensive lineman and having someone that can be very productive next to Quinnen Williams. Or, even better, Nolan Smith. But all 3 of those guys were not the selection. It was Will McDonald. And in the moment, I'm like, I'm pretty sure, based off mock drafts, and mock drafts are not foolproof, but this seemed like a guy you could get in the later round. He's a very similar build to Nolan Smith. So I was like, why didn't the Jets take Smith instead of McDonald? And when you look into it, it's because McDonald might be the most athletic pass rusher in this entire draft. In terms of his bend, his agility. I mean, looking at some of his numbers, I wrote an article for Jets Insider discussing the Jets draft class, going over what the coaches said and how those picks fell. He had a 6.853 cone, a 36-inch vertical jump, and an 11-foot broad jump. There are videos of this guy jumping over cars, doing flips over cars. This dude is athletic beyond, I would say, any guy on this Jets roster, let alone a pass rusher. Also, diving deep into some of the alignment of where McDonald was playing inside. He was playing over the tackle or inside at times. The Jets, looking at it, they've already said they're moving him to wide 9. What does wide 9 mean? He's playing outside the tackle. He's becoming a true stand-up edge rusher. The Jets solidified a position that isn't a need now, but number 1 will help contribute to them winning games because pass rush wins games in the NFL. And number 2, Carl Lawson's a free agent after this year. Bryce Huff is a free agent after this year. You are now solidifying that position group by having McDonald, who I'm sure the Jets are hoping can develop into their best pass rusher, alongside Jermaine Johnson, alongside Quinnen Williams, alongside John Franklin Myers. So the more I've looked at it, with his already impressive pass rush production and athletic profile, the Jets are banking on the trades and banking that putting him in the right spots, getting him in the NFL weight program is going to make him that much more of a productive player. And honestly, with this type of draft class, I'm not mad at that. Because if you really think about it, look at the rest of the first round. Who were the Jets taking that made sense? It was Nolan Smith, who's very similar to McDonald, or really JSN. You could argue Kancey, but who knows if a guy that small would really fit into what the Jets want to run on defense.
No, you give a lot of good points, and I want to touch on the the question of the day. And it is tough when you really look at all the. I don't think anyone on the Jets or Giants could get offensive player of the year or offensive rookie of the year. I really don't see that being a fit. I see the only chance of maybe even having a defensive rookie of the year would be Deontay Banks, and that's a stretch too.
And we'll get to him, but I think McDonald has a shot if maybe the Jets have an edge injury to Lawson again, and McDonald becomes a starter earlier than people expect. And now he's getting those opportunities to have those one-on-ones to really use his bend, his pass rush arsenal. That's the guy on defense. And we got Ted in the chat saying Jalin Carter. Jalin Carter's going to eat this year, man. We'll get to him in a little bit. He went to the perfect spot for him. Don in the chat says, offensive rookie of the year, Bijan, Gibbs, or Bryce Young. Defensive rookie of the year, kind of hard to predict. Maybe Christian Gonzalez or Will Anderson. Anderson, I love the player. Texans really don't have much. Teams are going to be able to double team Anderson. And I don't know if Christian Gonzalez is going to – I think it's going to be great, but it's so hard for corner to win defensive rookie of the year when compared to like an edge rusher or a guy like Jalin Carter, because you basically have to have an incredible season. You saw Sauce Gardner had to have literally an all-pro season to win defensive rookie of the year. So it'll be interesting to see that. But to really expand on the rest of the draft class, to boil it down, to me, the Jets are basically trying to become one of the most athletic teams in football. It's ridiculous.
That's what it's looking like.
Looking at their draft class, outside of Carter Warren, I'm pretty sure, and Joe Tippmann, who both were dealing with injuries and didn't test. Yes. All of the guys the Jets picked had a relative athletic score of a 9 or higher. All of them. So we're talking McDonald. We're talking, as I pull up the rest of the draft class here, we're talking scrolling down, we're talking Zaire Barnes, Jarek Bernard-Converse, Zach Kuntz, Israel Abeakanda. All these guys are athletic freaks and bring more speed and athleticism to their roster. And while I'll be honest, I'm not completely sold on the immediate impact of a lot of these guys, you're adding more speed, more talent, more developmental process to this roster. You're giving the guys with the better athletic profiles have a better shot to translate to the NFL than guys that run in the like 4.6s or aren't agile or don't have that same level of athleticism. Looking at the rest of the draft class, Joe Tippmann, 6'6" center. You know, that's tough to be that size and play center, but he's insanely athletic. He's been one of the best centers in all of college football. He has the football IQ. He's been known to call out the different pass protections, the different things that Wisconsin did on offense. Wisconsin runs a very complicated offense. So whether or not he's a center, which I think he is the Jets' future, and even with the structure Connor McGovern's deal, potentially current center, he could even provide value, in my opinion, at a guard position if Laken Tomlinson struggles. You look at Carter Warren. If not for a knee injury, there's been draft analysts that have talked about this guy potentially being a day 2 draft pick. He is a stud pass blocker already. Looking at some of his stats, as I mentioned in the article, Carter Warren has over 35-inch arms. He had an 81.5 PFF pass blocking grade, and he only gave up 1 sack in 103 pass blocking attempts or pass blocking snaps in 4 games this past season before he got hurt. It is another guy on this offensive line, like we talked about. They're adding depth. They also signed Billy Turner yesterday. They're adding depth to this offensive line room. They're not going to be in a position where they are uncomfortable with the guys starting at tackle if their first 2 guys go down. And Warren, while he does probably have to work on some run blocking things, while he does have to improve some of his play strength, having a pass blocker like that for Aaron Rodgers already in an ACC that is sometimes underrated but is still a very good conference, that's impressive. That's very impressive. You know, Zaire Barnes, very underrated pick in the sense of I had no idea who this guy was. But guess what? You add an athletic guy like that, put him on special teams. Jarek Bernard Converse, while he transferred from Oklahoma State to LSU, this is your typical Jets. Let's convert the cornerback to the safety pick. The athletic profile, they're hoping that he can translate into that position. And if he's that athletic, why not take the shot on him? And then that brings us to the last two picks, not in order, but that we got to talk about. Izzy from University of Pittsburgh. I'll be real with you. I love the Tippmann pick. The McDonald pick is growing on me. The Warren pick is growing on me. This is my favorite pick of the entire Jets draft class. I love that the Jets are adding more speed to their offense. I love that they are adding that another explosive dynamic to me. I think this guy could be the Jets RB2. I really do. He has that same type of athletic profile as Breece. Maybe not that same strength, but to have three guys, in my opinion, Breece Hall, Israel Abeakanda, and Zonovan Knight, who all can play at a very high level in this Jets zone scheme, who all can hit the hole with speed. And the case of Breece and Izzy have that home run level speed. That just adds another great dynamic to your offense. I'm very excited to see what he can do in the Jets offense. I think he can basically knock Michael Carter off the roster. Maybe that's a hot take right now, but
here we go.
I'd rather have the size, strength, speed guys than have a smaller guy hit you in the mouth going downhill in the running game, which then opens up the Garrett Wilson, the Alan Lazard, the Tyler Conklin, the Mecole Hardman over the top. That's the type of offense I want to run if I'm the Jets. And then Zach Kuntz, this is a very fun pick. He is the highest rated tight end tester of all time, according to RAS scores. Math bomb on Twitter. Number one out of over 1,000 different tight ends. 6'7", 255. Dude ran a 4.55 at that size. I mean, looking at some of his other testing numbers, like the dude had a 40-inch vertical and a 10-foot broad jump at 6'7", 255. I'm throwing this guy in the red zone immediately. I don't need you to block. Go catch a ball in the end zone from Aaron Rodgers. Who's covering you? You're too big for a corner, and you're too fast for a linebacker. That's the type of mismatch guy that the Jets just, I'll be real with you, simply don't have. And adding that guy, I think he can develop into something for the Jets down the line and potentially give them some of that tight end depth. That was a very long-winded discussion of the Jets draft class, but overall, is it a home run draft? No, but the Jets picked a bunch of athletic freaks. They hope probably half of them develop, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with going with your identity and sticking to it. Even in this quote-unquote win-now window, I think you added enough to the roster on top of Aaron Rodgers, on top of, let's not forget, more free agent signings that you're probably going to have. It's like a B minus draft for me. It's nothing special, but it sure as hell isn't a C or a D for me.
No, when I want one great insight again for people that might not be that interested or might not have the knowledge of the draft. I think that's awesome insight on the Jets and what they did. Another thing I think you should shout out to the article you wrote. I know you put a lot of work into that. So if you could just want to shout out where people listening right now can find that if they want to get more insight, because I guarantee there's probably a lot more on there than you just said too.
Yeah, so all the writings on Jets Insider, everything is on that website. If you guys want to see that, it's going to be more content throughout the offseason. Talk about Aaron Rodgers led Jets. I mean, it's going to be a fun year. So
there you go.
Stay tuned to that.
Well, thank you. I think people would love to listen to that too. And with Kuntz, that was their last pick of the draft too, wasn't it?
Yes, that was their 7th round pick.
So now my only question, how's a guy like that fall all the way to the 7th? And why?
I think from what I've read, it's been a lot of he's a very raw prospect. Like he isn't, I guess, maybe the most refined route runner, the most refined blocker. Okay. But for a team like the Jets that already have Conklin, Uzama, Ruckert.
Yeah.
I mean, they're in a position to take a flyer on an athletic freak like that.
No, very good. That's awesome here. I'm curious to see how that Israel pick works out, see where his role falls into. And as of right now, you're talking about the running backs too, and you said Michael Carter might fall off. Maybe that's just a prediction you have as well. Do you have Knight right now as their number 2?
I like Knight better than
I
Carter.
do too as well.
I
Just from
really
watching all the
do.
games last season.
It's just like I feel like there's a specific style of football the Jets are trying to play right now, right? Like overly athletic, fast, physical. And I feel like Zonovan Knight fits that better than Carter. I just do. Nice. And also the subliminal tweets and the different things with Carter go, like that stuff doesn't necessarily matter to me. But that does make an impact on top of you fell off from your rookie year. You were not the same player. Well, and that could be injuries, that could be different things. But you added another size speed guy in Izzy. You have Breece Hall coming back. You have Zonovan Knight. I mean, maybe run the wheels off Carter a little bit until Breece gets back, and then give Carter a backseat and try to move him at the trade deadline or move him during training. Like, I just don't see a long-term home for Carter here. I just simply don't.
No, I think that's awesome. I think, again, that is some of the best Jets insight on the draft you will find anywhere. So kudos to you. That was great. And so hopefully people found that interesting.
I think it's time to move on to Giants. And, you know, as much as Evan knows basketball, I think it's time to bring him in because he is our resident Giants fan. So
here we go. Bring in special guest, Mr. Evan Lawler.
Mr. Lawler, how are we doing today?
What's up, guys? You guys can hear me here?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, you're all set.
Beautiful.
So before we jump into some Giants draft talk, why don't you introduce yourself? What do you do? What are you about?
Hey everyone, I'm Evan, senior at Freddie Dickinson, sports admin major. Avid Giants fan. Gotta love the Knicks. That's really what it is. You know, I'm really excited to get on here and talk some good sports. New York sports are looking really good right now.
Yeah, so to lead it off, I mean, myself and Toomey, we spoke about this. We talked about this at length. The Giants needed one of two things in the first round: a cornerback or a wide receiver. And in my opinion, and I'll let you talk about this in one sec, I think they got one of the best corners in the draft in Deontay Banks out of Maryland. So when you saw the Giants pick Banks, what were your thoughts? How do you think he fits into the Giants defense?
Well, I was definitely happy because the best 4 wide receivers that we possibly could have got were taken right in front of us. And I think that's why the Giants got a little eager and they traded up because they didn't want to lose another guy. It was awesome. I think Banks is awesome. We need secondary help a lot. We signed a few guys in the offseason for wide receivers to get that depth. So I'm not really too concerned with the wide receiver in the first round, not getting one. I love Banks. We need the secondary help. I think those were like one of the biggest holes in our team in general, and especially in our defense. So I was really excited with him. He's a really good player. He's he's a long kid. He can, play deep ball. He's a good kid.
I'm very excited about the pick because he fits that Wink Martindale scheme so well. He literally, if you follow anything with him on Twitter, Instagram, he prides himself on locking up opposing wide receivers. He has that, I guess, as the kids would say, that dog mentality, in the sense of he wants to play that man coverage and lock up that opposing receiver. And that is what the Giants defense is predicated on. They do not have a guy like that. By adding that guy, they're putting themselves in so much of a better spot against the Cowboys, the Eagles, and even the Commanders of the world in their own division. I was very excited by that, but really looking at their next 2 picks, man, I think their next 2 picks were home runs. So John Michael Schmitz was their second round pick, the center out of Minnesota. We have talked about him so much on this show. And then I think an even better pick, Jalin Hyatt. You were adding that speed element to the wide receiver room. You were adding just and yes, he might not be the biggest receiver, but that is an element that this Giants offense does not have. And personally, I think his addition is going to open up so many more things.
Oh, yeah, I love Hyatt. I mean, I think especially in the third, it was a no-brainer to snatch him up, especially him falling. There is question with his catching and such, but I think with Sterling Shepard in that wide receiver room, a big vet coming back, he's going to learn so much, and he's just going to develop underneath a lot of veteran wide receivers that we got there. And I'm really excited to see what he does. When he had his fantastic game against Alabama. I put on my Instagram story and I was like, New York Giants, please. And they actually drafted him. So I'm super excited. Danny Dimes needs, as many weapons as we can get. So I definitely think getting him and adding the addition of Hyatt, it's going to be awesome. I think, the Giants offense is definitely going to open up, especially with this whole Saquon ordeal going on. I think we need the weapons.
So we got Ted in the chat saying the NFC East is loaded with wide receivers. Eagles, Washington, Dallas, Giants need corners to defend them. Exactly. So Toomey, I'll toss it to you. We've rattled off those first 3 picks. Which one of those is your favorite?
I was very big on Jalin Hyatt before the draft. I really want him. But after the first 3, I got to go Deontay Banks. I think that's the biggest need. And I'm going to jump with what Ted was saying right there, too. That's 6 games right there where you're going against some of the top receivers in the league. I guess A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, McLaurin, and then CeeDee Lamb. Those are tests. And you will see if this guy can make it or break in the NFL just from those 6 games and see where he can jump from there. Going on the other ones, John Michael Schmitz, he was my top-rated center. I think most people had him as their top-rated center. It brings, again, if I just remember that Eagles-Giants game in the playoffs, Giants got rolled over. And you know what? They brought in positions that, if you saw during that game, were where they were lacking. Didn't really have receiving help. They were running all over the field on him. Jalen Hurts could hand it off, run it, pass it. There was no need for anything else. So I want to shout out Eric Gray too.
I was going to talk about him next.
Yes.
Well, but no, it's a great draft. I think a lot of them, all the analysts are giving them A to A-, A+. Grades, again, you never know until the season happens, but from initial just insight, it seems pretty good.
So we have some breaking news. The New York Jets have declined the 5th-year option of offensive tackle Mekhi Becton. I'll be honest, not a surprise there. I think he is a franchise tag candidate if he has a good season. But let's face it, you're not going to exercise that option on a guy that hasn't played for 2 years. I don't think there's too much analysis into that. Becton bounces back, has a great year. Guess what? Jets aren't going to let him walk. Offensive tackles are at a dime a dozen in this league, and Becton, it's a prove it year for him. He's got to prove that he can stay on the field. He's got to prove that he's that same type of player from his rookie season. So that'll be very interesting to watch over the coming months or weeks and months. But back to the Giants here. They've rounded out their draft, like Toomey said, with Eric Gray, Trey Hawkins, the cornerback out of Old Dominion, Jordan Riley, defensive tackle out of Oregon, and Travarius Owens, the safety out of Houston. I'll be real with you. Love this Giants draft. They addressed a bunch of positions in need. Like Toomey said, John Michael Schmitz, I low-key wanted him a bit more than Tippmann at the center position, but I understood why the Jets chose Tippmann, looking for a bit more of the athletic profile. I think Schmitz is going to be a stud for the Giants. He's going to be that anchor for them in the middle of the offensive line. Hyatt, I think, is going to add that true deep ball speed. And then at the end of the day, you're just shoring up the different positions. You're adding more to your interior defensive line. You're adding more basically dart throws in the secondary. Why not? Giants need help in the secondary. Throw a few darts in the 5th, 6th round, 7th round. If it hits, guess what? You're making your life that much easier. If it doesn't hit, so what? They're a late round pick. I really, really, really love the strategy they employed in this year's draft.
No, there's the Giants front office has been awesome all year, especially free agency. I also want to shout out one of the guys we picked up, Deontay Johnson out of Toledo. 109 total tackles and 3 sacks. Fantastic free agent. Well, I guess post-draft pickup and free agency for an undrafted guy. Really excited to put him in the linebacker room. We already picked up, and I can't say his name. I'll butcher it. But the kid from the Colts was awesome pickup in free agency as well. And especially, we also picked up another corner from the Lions. And I'm really excited to see this defense. They're young, they're hungry. A lot of they also have some vets in there that are really going to mentor these young guys.
Yeah, it's very exciting. And then I guess the one thing I want to ask you about the Giants, Evan, this kind of ties into the last thing I want to talk about with draft. Where do you see them falling in the NFC and the NFC East? Because we're gonna finish out the draft stuff, talk about our favorite drafts, and my favorite draft. I mean, if it's a spoiler, it falls in the NFC East. So I just want to hear where you think the Giants fall, because this might be one of the toughest divisions in football just because of who's at the top.
Hey, man, the Philadelphia Dogs, man, it is what it is. You can't really, they had an awesome draft. I can't believe all those teams let all these guys slide to them. But, in the NFC East, I think we're a competitor for the second place. Not high on the Cowboys. I don't know, especially losing Zeke, and then they got, Dak. I don't know. This is a big prove it year Dak for me. I definitely think we run number 2 there. I want to see what's going to happen with this offense. Obviously, Saquon is the big question here with his contract, but running backs deteriorate a lot in the NFL. It's really hard to keep him around with injuries and such. I'd love to see Saquon stay a Giant. I know he said it before, but that's something out of our control. Gotta let the front office do what they're doing. They have been doing fantastic. I'm really trusting the process with them. NFC wise, I definitely think we're a playoff team. I definitely think we'll be a fringe there. Definitely wild card. Hopefully, this year, looking at the overs and unders, I think Giants were 8.5 maybe wins. I definitely think it's a 9-10 win team. In the future years, competing with the Eagles is going to be hard, but I think those games are going to, for the Giants especially, playing the Eagles twice a year, playing the Cowboys twice a year, playing the Commanders twice a year, it's going to be really good test for them and keeping them, fresh and competitive. Because we went from the NFC East being one of the worst divisions about, not even 5 years ago, to being actually now one of the best. The competition's going to be great. I can't wait to watch, especially just being a fan of football in general. A lot of great guys and athletes on those teams.
Yeah, I think that the Giants are 100% a playoff team. And to start off my favorite draft class, I mean, I kind of spoiled it already. I think the Eagles murdered the draft. I mean, Jalin Carter, look, was he for everybody? No, but I thought the Eagles were his best landing spot. Having his teammate in Jordan Davis, his ex-teammate in Nakobe Dean, having the veteran mentorship in Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham. If there's any team that is going to get the most out of Jalin Carter, it is going to be the Philadelphia Eagles. That was already a great start to the draft. They then added Nolan Smith at pick 30, which, let's face it, he had no business falling that far unless there was a medical issue that hasn't been made public yet. They then added a guy in Keely Ringo. They also added a tackle in Tyler Steen. They added a developmental guy in Tanner McKee. They killed every aspect of this draft, and there's a few teams that I think had some better drafts, potentially, maybe on the same level, but I think the Eagles are my favorite draft because of what they had already, and then them adding and filling those holes in the process. So, Toomey, I'll toss it to you. Who's your favorite draft and why?
I was Eagles up there too, but I'm going to give another team just to shout them out. Going with the Seattle Seahawks. Really, in my eyes, I think it's very clear they got the best wide receiver in JSN, and they got the best cornerback in my eyes too with Witherspoon. Witherspoon just seems like a guy that is Jamal Adams but can cover. He is a bullet, ready to get shot out of a gun, and legit, he's everywhere all at once on that field. He seems like it. I think they were spot on with that pick. And just adding that defense. They had a phenomenal draft last season, and I think they just added to it this season. And you know what? They're going to be a team. They gave Geno Smith weapons. That defense is going to be stacked up. I'm curious. I really am to see how they really turn out. And then just to shout out the Indianapolis Colts, I think, with that Richardson pick. I think that's really going to help them. They'll be better than they were last year. Jonathan Taylor is going to turn up. And really, though, the Seahawks really get it for me. And Eagles as well. But you gave great insight on the Eagles. And, I mean, they're already the Eagles. I think they're probably the best team in football. They just don't have Patrick Mahomes. That's really it.
Evan, what do you think? Who do you think had the best draft?
Obviously the Eagles, they got a lot of literal dogs. They got some really good guys. And just as I said, a fan of football and especially watching at the Vision all the time, I'm excited to see. I love Jalin Hurts as much as I want to say I hate him. I think he deserves, everything. He's an absolute beast, and I definitely am excited, to see the Eagles play, well. Obviously, hopefully the Giants play a little bit better, but if I'm gonna have to root for another team, NFC East, it's going to be the Eagles. I did like the Texans this year, though, at least in their first round. I was a very big fan of them going back to back, trading and getting Stroud and Anderson just to build a young franchise up. When they get got really two good got a quarterback and a really good linebacker. And I'm really excited to see how they do as well. Those probably my two favorite rookies offensively and defensively, and Bryce Young's a close second.
Yeah, so NFL draft has come and it is gone. But guess what? We will be here throughout the summer as more NFL news comes in. Because just like this show, the NFL never sleeps. We'll be covering it all throughout the summer. And it is now time to move on to the NBA. Now, Evan, you have been Mr. NBA parlay guy. I've seen plenty of your parlays. You've been doing a phenomenal job with them, but you've been right there. You haven't hit the big one, but you have been killing it with these, and specifically with the Knicks series. So we figured who better to bring on to talk about this Knicks Heat series than you. So give you the floor here. Knicks lost game 1 to the Miami Heat. Game 2 is coming up. What do you think the Knicks need to do to take game 2? And what parlay, what guys, what lines are you looking at to really capitalize on in the second game?
Honestly, man, Knicks just need to play their basketball. They actually did not play, obviously behind the arc in the first game was really rough for the Knicks, shooting about, I think it was like 20.6% behind the arc. It was really rough for them. But I think Knicks just play basketball. They hit those shots. They haven't been shooting great in the playoffs anyway. In the regular season, they were a middle-of-the-pack team beyond the arc anyway. So, in general, I just think the Knicks, they just need to play their game. An 8-point loss to the Heat isn't really a huge loss, And with Jimmy Butler being hurt, I really think he's going to play tonight. I think Jimmy's going to have to sit this one out. I'm 99% sure Randall will come back tonight. If not, he'll definitely be there for game 3. And then Brunson, obviously his injury is a questionable thing. But I don't think, he's one of those hardworking guys. He won't let that stop him from playing. I just think the Knicks need to play their game, man, and just let it come to them and knock down those key shots they missed. There's something really different. Jimmy, he doesn't, like Josh Hart's a great defender. And when Jimmy plays against Josh Hart locks him down. Jimmy, playoff Jimmy and regular season Jimmy are different. But during the regular season, Jimmy had 2 games where he scored under 12 points against the Knicks. So, and Josh Hart was covering him. I want to say it was like, I think almost, I forget what the amount of shots he covered him for, but he was shooting like 20% when Josh Hart was covering him in the regular season. Obviously, we see in playoff Jimmy's different. But with this ankle injury, if he comes on the court, I want the Knicks to take it to Jimmy Butler with that ankle injury. I hate to put it like that. You don't want to, centralize on like a guy who's hurt, but you got to attack the weaknesses, especially in the playoffs. And MSG, the Knicks, I think, are 34-8 in game 2 at MSG. So I'm, very excited for them. The guys I'm going to key in on, especially, with the parlays I've been making, Brunson plus 20. I don't really like his over or unders, which sits around like 24. I definitely think he's a 20-plus guy with this injury tonight. The official lines aren't up yet. Usually go up an hour before game time. So as of right now, I usually sit with Brunson plus 20. His assists vary every week. So I would, they usually sit 5.5. I think if he's hurt and he plays, I think definitely look for him to pass the ball a lot more. Him and Josh Hart had a great chemistry together if Josh Hart starts tonight. So I think definitely keep that. If Obi's playing tonight, 10, 15 plus. I think that's a given for Obi. I think he's an offensive beast when he's there. He's super bouncy. I don't know if you guys watched game 1, but when he was contesting 3-point shots that were so far away just from jumping up, and he was stopping a lot of them. And I was, very excited to see Obi. I think he's going to play fantastic. Last game, his over for rebounds was 4.5. If they do that again, smash that line. I would even do Obi +6. Like, he's on the boards. He's doing great. Josh Hart, obviously, rebounding monster. I give him 6+ every game. At least Mitchell Robinson, 2 blocks. I do at least 2 blocks. If a lot of people don't know, Mitchell Robinson is the second Knick of all time in blocks. Says a lot about Knicks centers, but
Yeah.
he's the second all time in blocks. So the guy is definitely a defensive monster. Jimmy Butler actually double clutched against him in the first game and was kind of scared to drive on him. So it says a lot about him as a defensive presence. He had 2 blocks. He had a fantastic block actually, where I almost thought it was goaltending, but he did a great job. What else do I have here? RJ's hard for me to bet on. This is a personal bet because when I bet on RJ, he does awful. So that's why I never bet on RJ in these playoffs, because whenever I bet on him, he does not do anything for me. But RJ in MSG is different. He, I think, feeds into the energy, especially a guy who played at Duke. He loves that fire that comes with it. Usually his over-unders depends. I would say 16.5 it sits at. That's for you to decide. It's either RJ is putting up 24, like he put up 23 on average in the Cleveland series, especially those last 2 games at MSG, or he's putting up 12. So it's hard for me to really bet on him. I love RJ, and then Grimes. He's a heck of a shooter. He played really well from beyond the arc last game when he came back. They usually do him dirty on his rebounds. So if he is like a little bit of like a mid-range of a rebound, like 2.5, maybe 3.5, you could definitely take him. We talked about the Knicks behind the arc, not shooting that great, but with the Heat being they're outside of the top 25 in defending the catch and shoot. I would not be surprised if the Knicks go back and attack that again. And I think that's, they got a little trigger happy in game 1, but I don't blame them because it's a statistic. They're outside of the top 25 in defending that. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Knicks go back to that, but they're slashing and just driving at the basket, and they outscored them by I think 20, almost 30 points inside the paint. And I would not blame guys to do that, especially like if you're gonna take guys shooting beyond the arc with threes. I would definitely do Brunson or Quickly. Those are the guys they look to, especially if Brunson's hot, and that's why I would wait until maybe game 3 or 4 to take him on threes, because in the Cavs series he was shooting almost 50% from 3, and he was just chucking them up and hitting them. So when those guys are hot, especially Quickly's always looking to get off that screen and roll and to just hit that 3. Obi, he does knock down threes, but he shouldn't be the number 1 guy in threes for the Knicks. Should be the guy definitely hitting the basket, scoring points in the paint. I'm definitely excited to see again what he does tonight. But those are my thoughts on the lines I usually take. If I'm gonna bet tonight and I don't know the lines yet, I'm gonna, depending on Brunson. I usually would go 20 plus Brunson. If Obi's starting tonight and Randall sits again, I would go Obi's plus 10 or 15. I would go Josh Hart for rebounds. I think his points tonight are 11.5. I'm not a big fan of 11.5 for Josh Hart, but again, he's one of those guys too who can just go off for 17, 18 points. He loves to drive and grabs free throws. So that's why first baskets, I would also my one I love to try to throw $1 on for big money is first basket Josh Hart free throw, because he loves to drive and catch the foul. But I would for first basket, I'd probably say Gabe Vincent would probably be a safe bet. He's usually the first basket guy. But other than that, that's all I really have on the Knicks. When I get the lines later, I'm definitely gonna look, but I definitely look at Brunson, Obi, Hart, and RJ's rebounds. He's been rebounding very well as well. So I would definitely look at his rebounds.
Yeah, that's some great insight. And you talked on it a little bit. The Knicks, they got to stay aggressive. They have to stay aggressive. They can't get passive, because we saw it when the Knicks were attacking downhill. They were getting to they had a lead, 10, 12 points. They were able to keep the Heat at bay even when their shooting started to, no pun intended, heat up. But when we started to see the issues is when, and I feel like the poster child of this is RJ got passive. Instead of attacking to the basket like he did in the Cleveland games when he was having 20, 25 plus points. He was settling for the three. He was settling for the mid-range. He wasn't putting the head down and driving like he normally does. And I liken that to a great adjustment by Eric Spoelstra. Spoelstra is one of the best coaches in all of basketball, made a great adjustment, and honestly, he threw the Knicks offense out of flux. He got them out of their rhythm, and all of a sudden the Knicks were fine settling for the three instead of going to what works and trying to figure out how different ways to get to the basket. That's my number one key to the game. The Knicks need to stay aggressive, and if they stay aggressive, they are going to win this game, in my opinion, because a hobbled Jimmy Butler, love the player, not going to be as effective. I don't think Gabe Vincent shoots as well as he does last game. Kyle Lowry, I don't think shoots as well as he does. The Heat shot exceptionally well, especially in the second half. I just don't see that sustaining over a 7-game series, let alone in this game tonight. I personally think it's 1-1. I don't think the Knicks will run away with it, but I say a Knicks 7-8 point win tonight. They kind of put it out of reach in the fourth quarter. But it's an exciting series. It's two very physical, very good teams. And let's face it, Miami underachieved for a lot of this season. They're not as bad as their record shows. In fact, I think they're a lot better. They're a very well-coached team. Jimmy Butler's a different player in the playoffs. I would be a lot more worried if Tyler Hero was still in this series. But I truly think the key to the game is the Knicks staying aggressive. And then you could even put a smaller key. They got to close out on three-pointers. There were too many times last game where Heat players were basically sitting, catching the ball, and just shooting an easy three. Those attempts might start to fall. And that comes out down to closeouts, getting the right defensive rotations, making sure guys are switching correctly. But I am confident in the Knicks. I don't think that one game limits them and limits their ability to win the series. They lose tonight, though, completely different story.
Now, if I had to say anything about the series, Knicks have a good chance here to come back with an answer with the injuries you said. But again, hey, the Heat are a team with a lot of experience in the playoffs, especially big moments in the playoffs. I think that's what kind of separates them from the Knicks. You got guys, Kyle Lowry, champion. Last year, they've had great runs with a bunch of these guys. So the Knicks got to jump on them fast. They're the younger team. They have more depth. And you guys said it well. Hey, they just got to chip away, stay at their necks, especially with injuries. Like you said, though, you don't want to say that. But, hey, it is the playoffs. You're not supposed to be nice out there. No, great stuff, I really think. And are we getting into the rest of these matchups too?
I think it is time. Evan is also a proponent of betting on series winners. And yeah, I am bringing it up. I apologize. Evan hit on – how many series was there? 7 or 8?
It was an 8-leg parlay. Yeah.
8-leg parlay. And he had the option, and Bleacher Report Betting actually responded to his message, which was pretty cool. He had the option at cashing out before Game 7 of the Kings-Warriors series. And it was so – and let's face it, hindsight is 20/20. But going into this game, the Kings had just won on the road. They had just beat Golden State in their own building. They're going back to their home building to close out this series. This is the cash out, I think, was around 130 for Evan. And he had the option. Ride with it or cash out. And here's the thing. I was completely fine riding with it. I thought it was a good move. No one expected Steph Curry to have the best Game 7 of all time. Nobody. And like we're talking like point total. Yeah, Steph had the most points in a Game 7 ever.
Yeah.
More than Jordan, more than Russell, more than Bird, more than LeBron, more than Kobe. Anybody. I sure as hell didn't see that coming. As much as I love Steph, he's not. I didn't expect him to do that on the road. So I can't fault you there whatsoever. But we got another round of teams. So let's hear what you got, your analysis, and we'll go into each series a little bit and talk about it.
Well, I definitely should say that I should have known that the vets, guys being there for a long time for the Warriors, definitely should have caught up with them Game 7, which it did, just the experience. But, I wanted to ride with the boys. I wanted to light the beam. Beam was not lit. Beam was very much not lit. But right now, I do not like my series winners are right now. We'll see. I have, the Celtics, but, James Harden, I don't know if he goes for plus 40 back-to-back games. But so we have Boston. We have the Suns, which is not looking too hot right now. Them not having a bench is catching up. Who else do I have? I have Knicks. I have to ride Knicks. Got to ride them. I think Knicks goes to Game 6. I think it goes 2-2 back to the Garden. 100%. I think that's what happens. And then the fourth one, who's the other series?
Lakers.
Golden State Lakers.
Golden State Lakers. Yeah, I don't even want to think about Golden State. Lakers. I want LeBron James to put the Lakers to put Golden State in the ground. I would love to do that. But I think that might be another Game 6, Game 7 type series. LeBron and we have to take it in for what it is. It's going to be an absolute awesome series to watch those two potentially, top 5 players of all time play. The amount of vets on those teams is going to be awesome. But that's who I have. Sadly, I don't think it's going to go my way. I think the Suns are going to get caught up, and Jokic just being an absolute animal that he is. And then I say Knicks at least. I think Knicks in 6. Lakers and I'll go Lakers in 7. Boston. I'll go Boston in 6. And I Nuggets probably in 5, even though I'd love the Suns to win.
Yeah, we got the friend that we got. Billy Blue Bills. That is a name right there. Saying the Giants are garbage. I don't know if I would go as far to say garbage. They were a playoff team last year, but hey, to each his own, right? But yeah, to your point, look, I truly thought the Suns would, and even with that lack of a bench, would be able to at least maybe make the series 1-1. For them to be down 2-0 to Denver already, it's not looking great. I agree with that. It's not looking great. If we pull up the score of the last game, the final score is a 97-87. And look, we are in a modern era of basketball. The fact that a Suns team with DeAndre Ayton, Kevin Durant, Chris Paul, Devin Booker got held to 87 points, that's flashing red siren for me. That is very bad news. I'm very worried. Looking at the game recap for that one, where are the stats? 1 second.
I got you. There's no one on their bench put up more than 2 points. You have Booker and KD putting up 35 and 24. DeAndre Ayton putting up 14.
Yeah, I mean, when your bench is Ish Wainwright, Jock Landale, Damian Lee, Cameron Payne, you can't compete with a bench that, I mean, quite frankly, Nuggets didn't really play that many guys. I mean, they played their 5, and then you got Jeff Green, who had he had 2 points, but he had a +7 on the court. Christian Braun, Bruce Brown, and that's it. Nuggets are running a very tight rotation, and Phoenix isn't. So that's the battle you face when you have the stars and not the bench, versus a very tight rotation where maybe you have more of a bench, but you're not too reliant on the quote unquote star power. Looking at the Sixers series, this series has to get to 1-1 for Boston. Boston, it's a very similar thing to the Knicks. Boston cannot lose both games at home. It cannot happen. If it does, I'm not ringing the panic alarm, but you're giving a Sixers team that would have won 2 straight games on the road Joel Embiid back. That's a recipe for disaster if Boston loses that game. The Knicks, we talked about that. I agree with you, Evan. I think it's Knicks in 6. I do think the Knicks find a way to win this series. And then this Lakers series, it's going 7. Flip a coin.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be back and forth battle. And let's face it, we don't talk about it. This might be the final matchup of Curry and LeBron at the height of their powers.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually
And-
going to say something too, real quick. There's only 2 teams LeBron's played more than the Warriors in the playoffs. And LeBron's only been in the West for 5 seasons.
Exactly.
The amount of matchups we've seen between these two has been stellar. This could be the end of it right here. And no better way to go out than LA on top for sure.
I mean, 2 of the best players of all time.
Of our generations too. Definitely the 2 best.
GOAT, I mean, the GOAT and a guy that's approaching, I'd say, top 7 status, getting pretty damn close. I think
Getting close to top 2 point guard of all time.
Yeah, I mean,
He's there.
If not one.
Mm-hmm.
He's the best shooter of all time. This is going to be a matchup for the ages. You have the drama that always comes with the Draymond Green infused series because that guy just seems to create problems because
he loves LeBron too much.
He's going to cause problems with the other guys on the team. But all jokes aside, I'm very excited for these matchups. To me, our NBA Finals prediction lives on.
Yep.
Celtics,
even though
Lakers.
it's not looking too good for mine.
What did you not have Celtics Lakers?
No, I had Suns. No, I had Suns Bucks. So no, actually.
Suns Bucks. Oh, good
Suns,
lord.
Yeah, that's a wild.
I was doing a repeat, and that completely fell off the face of the earth.
Well, you didn't expect Giannis to get hurt, so
No,
I'll give you a mulligan on that.
We'll let it slide.
Hey man, I told Poke, I said when the Heat lost to the Hawks, I said Jimmy Butler knows something about Milwaukee that no one knows. I said that to him. I said that, and he did his thing, man.
He definitely did something.
Oh, I mean, I've never seen a playoff performance like that in my life.
No, that was something different. That was something special. But Evan, I think that brings us to the end of the NBA talk. Before you go, where can we find you? What platforms you on? And are you going to be, maybe posting some of your betting picks anywhere?
Hey man, I might have to look into it. Maybe we'll see. We'll see if I get hot. I might start doing some stuff. We'll see though. I just have my Instagram, which is Evan_Lawler. That's really it. I think I'm gonna start maybe posting some stuff on bets, maybe TikTok. We'll see if this becomes like a running little thing here. We'll definitely, start throwing some stuff out there. I'm just hoping that around 6 o'clock I get these lines and we'll see if I'm hot or not. I'll come back next week and hopefully Knicks are up, I'm up, and Warriors are down because I'm praying on their downfall right now.
Hey, if you want to, I think we'd gladly post something if you send us over something for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll post
wherever
something
you
for
guys want me to. Yeah, I'll tell you guys something.
I mean, just to plug it, we got the new Instagram and Twitter up and running, so we'll throw up your picks on there. And honestly, love to have you back next week. Give an update on where the parlays stand.
Beautiful Knicks and 6, baby.
Knicks and 6 indeed.
Good to see you.
I'll see you guys.
Catch you.
Yeah, so
very nice. That was cool. Have a little something different for first time in a while.
Hey, we're gonna be doing more stuff like that. So, betting, different insight on some of the different teams that we cover, such as the Giants, maybe even some Islanders, some Devils. I mean, we got Devils enough on the show already, as we say. But Yankees, Mets, maybe even some Bills talk at some point. Just as the offseason goes on, overall NFL talk. Like we're gonna have some fun with this, and
let's do it.
We always enjoy expanding the horizons. As we said though, the NBA, I am so excited for these playoff series. I mean, the Nuggets series has been underwhelming, but between the 2 Eastern Conference series and this series that I'm looking forward to so much in the Lakers and Warriors, it's sports, man. What more can you ask for? Truly. So I think that moves us on to Toomey's probably favorite part of the show, but I am going to stall a little bit because Curry Bueno Design Center serving New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Florida. We, as in they, are a fully authorized Hunter Douglas dealer. They got all your window treatment needs. They really do. If you're interested, contact Jeff at 609-226-0391 for a free consultation. Also, all campus is giving 20% off everything in their store, including hats and shirts to all of their subscribers. Make sure to get in on that. All right, just give me 1 sec. I have to just do something real fast.
Can we get a oh? You just
all right, good. All right, it's out of the system. Rangers Devils series. You start. I don't want to talk yet.
I didn't think I'd have to watch that game in so many different locations at so many different times, but luckily we got to see the whole thing. Wow. I thought I was gonna have to sweat. I really did. I thought I was gonna have to sweat and just. It was still, my heart was beating out my chest until probably 10 minutes left in the third, when they put in the third and then the fourth. But no, it was quite obvious. I think you'll agree with me. The one team wanted that way more than the other one. It really was. Akira Schmid, Martin Brodeur was in the building. And I don't know what kind of magic he put out there, but that kid put on a Martin Brodeur playoff performance. 4-1 versus arguably one of the best goaltenders in the league, and you outdueled him. I'll have to give the Devils some shout out. They gave Akira a lot more help than the Rangers did Igor. But no, just the Devils just seemed like they wanted more. They had more energy in the first. They had more energy in the second. They were gritty. They were grinding. It looks like they just outplayed the Rangers. They were faster. The Rangers, once they got beat up, and they had good chances too, but they just kept getting stopped by Akira. So all the momentum that they could have got was halted. The Rock was jumping, bumping. It ended a lot better than how it started in the Rock. I'm glad to say that I wasn't at the last Devils home game, playoff home game, which was in 2018. It's their first series win since I was 12. You're wearing a Devils jersey. We've had guys come out of the woodwork to put goals in that net. Jack Hughes wasn't the star of that game. Jack Hughes wasn't the star of the series. Akira Schmid, Eric Halla. Got Michael McLeod put in the first goal. Andres Palat. That's why we pick a guy like that up. That's why we sign a vet who's everyone's doubting. We sign him to the team, and he comes out and makes plays happen in the playoffs in 2 big games. Should I keep going? I'll keep going. We got guys like, I don't even know. Me and my brother have this thing. I say 4 goals, he eats a steak. We score 4, he eats a steak. That's how it goes. The 2 games we won, 4 goals and a steak. Goose eggs. I don't even I've never been so excited on the show before. But really, I've been watching this team all season just waiting for this. And it finally came. That was my Stanley Cup. They could lose next round. Obviously, I don't want them to, but I just love being up on the New York Rangers. I really do. I don't even know.
Dude,
Can I tell Let's Go Devils?
Do you want me to talk now?
Let me see. Can I think of one more thing? Who scored that second goal?
I think it was Palat.
John Marino driving the lane. John Marino driving to the blue. Behind the net just to dish it to Tatar. We got guys banging on the ice to the fans. It's the most electric I've seen that place since 2012 when I was there. Being up on the Flyers. Shout out to all the Flyers fans out there. I was at that series end back in 2012. I had some random dude behind me lift me up. I was like little 5th grade. Some dude lifted me up. Go, yeah. OT Dubs. Come on now. All right, you can go. That's it.
All right. So I'm going to be cordial to start because that's who I am. I'm also a man of my word. I'm wearing this. Number 1, Devils might have had the greatest turnaround, greatest 2-season turnaround I've ever seen in a sport. They went from one of the worst teams in the league to beating one of the best teams in the NHL. Point blank. They've been better than the Rangers all year. They proved that in this series. Number 2, and this is where the rant part's going to start coming out, and we're going to probably progress towards where I might be screaming. I hope I don't reach that point, but I'm going to get close. I've never seen a more talented team taken out of a game so damn fast in my life. I've watched some pretty damn talented Rangers teams. I've watched some insane series. 2 saves, 3 saves. I don't care how many saves should not cause you to just start playing slow. I've never seen a team come out more flat in a game 7. Not just an elimination game. You win the game, you advance. You literally just won the previous game 5-2. Okay, he made a few great saves. Keep applying the pressure. Play hard. We didn't talk about it on the show, but the Giannis quote about, was this season a failure, and him being like, it's not a fail. Like, we didn't talk about that. We didn't really dive deep into that. But this season's a failure for the Rangers. I don't care that they were the 3 seed. I don't care that the Devils had more points than them. The Devils won the season series. When you have a roster consisting of Chris Kreider, Mika Zibanejad, Vladimir Tarasenko, Vincent Trocheck, Patrick Kane, Alex Lafreniere, who maybe isn't on that level. He was a number 1 overall pick. Capo Caco. I could probably keep going.
You could.
Adam Fox. To get shut out 4-0 in game 7? Shut out? What? How is it anything but a failure? Anything but it. It's not. It's simply nothing but a failure. And we're not even, this isn't the time for this show, right? But there's a possibility we could dive deep into how the Rangers might have to unload half their damn roster now because of their cap situation. Possibility the Rangers don't even get close to this position again for the next few years. They have to rebuild. I don't think they're exactly at that point, but like, come on. It's so, the most frustrating part is that watching the game, and I watched a lot of this damn game, but it got to a point where I was shutting off at game 7. I closed my damn laptop. He was right next to me. He saw me do it. How are you getting out-hustled, out-strength, out-efforted in a game 7 when you have veterans that have been there? The Devils are a young team. They don't have the playoff experience. You're the ones that have it. You just made the Eastern Conference Finals last year. It's so damn frustrating. And it's not even the fact that they lost to the Devils. I'd be feeling this way if they lost to the Canes like this. You're letting down Igor. I talked about this all damn year. All damn year. The defense. Why did the defense just suddenly fall apart? I've never seen a team make so many ill-advised passes. Guys just whipping passes across the center of the ice. You're literally giving the Devils scoring opportunities.
I think the one big stat was, I think it was the end of the second period, 13 takeaways.
You're playing sloppy. You're whipping passes in middle of the ice. They teach you this at the youth level. You don't do that. That's literally how you get your goaltender into trouble. And I've said this all year. It doesn't matter how good Igor is. You can't expect your goalie to save 50 shots every single game. These are the best hockey players in the damn world. What makes you think they're not going to find the back of the net?
Especially with the chances they had.
With the chances
Devils
they
didn't
had.
have that many shots.
Exactly. But it's chance.
When they're having 2v1 and the one's the goalie, I think the Palat McLeod goal is perfect. It was them two, and then Igor right from them. That can't happen. That's their own neutral defensive zone turnover.
Defensive zone, exactly.
Yeah. It can't happen. The next
No.
goal was pretty much John Marino gets in, you left Tatar right in front of the goalie, no one around him. It can't happen. They played sloppy.
And look at the first two Devils goals. Deflection. Why is no Ranger around the net? Why is there no Ranger helping? Devils, if there was any deflection off Schmid, that puck's out immediately. No opportunity. They're not even letting the Rangers get anywhere near Schmid for a rebound opportunity. Power plays. I've never seen a team fall off on a power play more than I've seen the Rangers. From the first two games in the series on, I've never seen a team just absolutely drop the ball on power play.
Such a up and down, such a roller coaster of power plays is very.
It's not even up and down. It literally started up, and it's like the freaking double shot in Ocean City. Boom, boom. That's exactly what happened. Double shot all the way down. Game 6, the power play's back up. Boom, bottom falls out right again. Ridiculous, man. Freaking ridiculous. And it's like the 2 games before, you have Igor yelling at the Rangers bench to wake the F up. Your goalie shouldn't be doing that. Where's the coach? Coach blaming I hate to say it because they had a successful season, but it's a mess. It is wholeheartedly a mess right now. And to me, if you want to start the conversation now, we can. I haven't looked at the free agent for the Rangers. I haven't looked at the cap situation because, quite frankly, I'll be real with you. I'm still upset, and I'm not going to do that yet because that's just going to make me more upset because I don't think they're in that good of a situation.
I've heard rumblings about, but nothing that I could really say on it. I heard that they're going to have people are going to have to leave, and they're going to have to get rid of some guys. And
we talked about this.
That's the last thing you want to hear as a fan of a team or just a team in general. If we could get into something more like this later in the show or like a different episode.
I feel like this is more of like a after the Stanley Cup type episode.
Yeah, we can talk about that and get into details. They have great websites for it that we can look at it and go through the details. But that's the last thing you want to hear. Because, I mean, here's the difference with the Devils and the Rangers. Devils lose this series. They're coming out next year with pretty much the same exact team.
Devils lose a series. Who cares? You played with house money this year.
Yeah.
You were not expected to be in this situation. The Rangers were expected to go far. You loaded up the team not to lose in the first round. You loaded up the team to go win a cup.
Yeah.
Sorry. Hey, I'm usually the optimistic one. You loaded up the team to go win a cup, and you lost in the first round.
And
I don't care who it is.
They loaded it up. You got one of the greatest American playoff players of all time, Patrick Kane.
Yeah, and he
was making mistakes.
He didn't do anything.
He was making mistakes last night.
Outside of the goal and his production the first 2 games didn't do anything. Rest of the series, no points, no nothing.
Did Kreider break that Rangers record in the first 2 games? Yeah. He didn't score a goal in the rest of the series, right?
I'm pretty sure he's.
No, he didn't go hat trick.
No.
There's no way.
No. I think he might have scored in game 6, but yeah, I think he scored in game 6. But Kreider can't be expected to do everything himself.
No, of course, no.
And that's what it's looked like at times. Like Panarin.
Did Panarin do much? No.
Disappearing act. Zibanejad had the 1 game. Kane had the 1 game. I don't think I heard Lafreniere's name one time in this damn series. Like the Rangers have a lot of things they need to fix, and and this is being transparent here on the show. We're gonna have to look into this more. I haven't even dived deep into what the Rangers need to do, what they even can do, and what potential moves they're gonna make, because this probably gonna be a tough offseason. And it sucks because this was supposed to be the year. And I've never been like this on the show. I'm so damn aggravated at the fact that they just dropped the ball like this. Because what else can you say? What else can you say besides they sucked and they might have had one of the worst Game 7 performances I've seen in my entire lifetime? I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say that.
No.
To get 4-0 shutout by your rival in Game 7, unacceptable. Just borderline, not
On
borderline.
the way they started the series too.
Yeah, flat out. You blew a 2-0 series lead and you lost the series like that. Completely unacceptable.
Yeah.
And the other team, I mean, if you want to touch on it, I mean, the Canes defeated the Islanders.
Pretty easily.
There wasn't a doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
I know the Islanders took a few games, but I'm not surprised. Carolina is a very, very, very exciting team. What was I gonna say? I'm not kidding. I'm just so distraught about last night. Still, it's disgusting. It was just frankly disgusting to watch. Carolina, very good team. We'll preview the matchups in a little bit. Islanders, they're one of those house money teams. I think they're going to be very, very good next year. Full season of Bo Horvat. Full season with some of the additions they have. I think they're going to be a fun physical team in the East. Whipping around the rest of the Stanley Cup playoffs. See how Kraken knocked off the defending Stanley Cup champions, the Colorado Avalanche. I don't think I saw that coming. I know you didn't see that coming.
Oh no. Both my picks for Western Conference teams are in the dumps right now. So
yeah, speaking of that, I'm not even going to look at my picks for for hockey because I don't think I have a single team left besides the Carolina Hurricanes. The Dallas Stars beat the Minnesota Wild. The Vegas Golden Knights beat the
Jets,
Winnipeg Jets, and the Edmonton Oilers. Hey, McDavid moved on. We love to see it. They are moved on to the second round, and then pandemonium struck in the East as well. And I'll ask you a question revolving around some of the upsets in a little bit. The Toronto Maple Leafs, they broke the curse. They did it.
yes, yeah,
they did it. Honestly, I know everyone loves to hate the Leafs. That's like a fun hockey thing. It's like the baseball equivalent of everyone hating the Yankees. I'll be real. I think it's cool to see Toronto move on. I think it's cool to see them advance. And then I'll be real with you. As bad as the Rangers series was, oh my goodness, if I was a Boston Bruins fan, I wouldn't be showing my face in public.
Yeah, with how that ended and now what's going to come out of that.
Oh my goodness gracious. Up 3-1 against the second wild card in the East. You lose the series in 7 in overtime.
After having the greatest regular season
ever.
of the time.
Ever.
And it comes to a point that I saw. I don't like to listen to Dave Portnoy. I don't like to listen to him much talk about sports, but he gave a great point.
I don't like to listen to him. I don't like hearing him talk, period. But
I think he's a good guy, but his insight, and this makes a lot of sense since obviously we've seen this. The last team to win the President's Cup or trophy and win the Stanley Cup was Mr. Patty Kane with the Blackhawks back in
09,
2010, I think. 2010.
Like it's been
a great point.
Years.
He said that it does not matter how good your regular season is, you just got to make the playoffs. And that's how hockey. That's how he said that's how hockey is. And I'm starting to believe that. I do really think that.
We got Mean Metal Mike saying go Devils.
Oh, yeah, go Devils. Go.
Do you like listening to Broads Media?
I thought that was gonna be one of those like what am I looking
Is that
for?
I mean I'm not. I might have heard of them. I'm not exactly.
I was thinking it was one of those like do you know I can't come up with one.
I apologize. I'm not.
No, I don't either. I thought
I'm not. It's not ringing a bell for me. So I apologize, Mean Metal Mike. I'm wearing the Devils jersey. It's not go Devils for me. Oh, he's a Philly hockey guy. I've heard the name. I haven't. Really
I'll check him out. I haven't heard him.
Yeah.
I'll gladly give him a listen.
Yeah, but
I'll look him up after this.
Back to what you said, man. I think that's legit. That's what baseball has turned into. It's what football is, and
I think that's good for sports.
It's great because the playoffs. It's a different animal. It's a different vibe, and you got to be ready to roll. It's like the Rangers. Like you can have all the talent in the world if you're not ready to roll in the playoffs, it don't matter. And you were alluding to it. A few potential retirements on the horizon for the Bruins. I don't think they reached the heights that they've reached this year. And it's going to be very interesting to see who fills that power vacuum in that conference, because I think the Lightning and the Leafs are going to be around for a little bit longer. But we've talked about it. Hockey kind of moves in like spurts of like 3 years. You'll have 3 years of a team dominating, and then a new team will come up, and then the next team will come up. And maybe that revolves around how the cap works. Maybe it revolves around the draft and different things. But it's going to be very interesting to see who fills that void. And looking at round 2, Devils, Hurricanes, I think the Devils have a great shot in this series. As much as I'm like, go Canes, I think the Devils, 1, have a great shot to win the series, and number 2, have a great shot to make the cup now.
Yeah.
That Bruins elimination opens up everything.
It opens up the East.
Me and my dad talked about this. He was like, he didn't, first of all, completely called the final score of that game last night. I was shocked. Number 2, he said whoever wins that series is probably going to the cup, or has a great shot to go to the cup.
I think I agree with that.
And I'll take it a step further. I think whoever wins the Canes Devils series is probably going to the cup, or at least losing to the Maple Leafs. I think if the Panthers somehow win, I don't think they stand a shot against the Canes or the Devils. I really don't. So I'm gonna just to throw it out there, my series winners. I'm going to go Devils over the Hurricanes. I just think the Devils are going to be playing with so much confidence, knocking off their division rival. And I think it's Maple Leafs Devils in the Eastern Conference Finals. I won't go any further than that, because that's just giving whole new predictions. And I'll just take it round by round at this point. And then I'm going to go Kraken over the Stars and Oilers over Vegas Knights. And that sets up a wild, wacky, and crazy finals round for both the West and the East, because that would be Oilers, Kraken, and Devils, Maple Leafs.
It's funny. I was just doing like scrolling who I think in my pick. I picked the same ones. I'm riding with the Devils. There's no way I'm not taking the Devils in this.
As you should.
Yeah, right. Out of all the teams, I'm scared of Florida just because, again, how physical they are.
Physical.
They're a team that will, and the Devils are not physical. They are a team that, hey, you got your star player. It's funny the amount of times Jack Hughes was on that ice last night. He was rolling around that ice like he was his mattress at home, but he was still doing a ton of great stuff out there. But yeah, scared of. I still think I'm with you, Toronto. Seattle had that phenomenal series win. I'm still not too high on Dallas, but they did really blow my last prediction out of the water. So now they're going on that. Again, I'm not using numbers on this. These are just predictions. During the season, I would really go into details with my hockey picks, and I got pretty good at it. But playoffs is just a different animal. Can't tell. So those are the picks. I'm with it. Curious to see. I will be going to one or two games.
One or two?
One or two.
Uh-oh.
For sure, I'm going to one or two games. There's no way I'm missing this opportunity. I couldn't be in the building with Rangers fans, so now I will be in the building.
It's
Hurricane fans there.
That's a good point. It's okay, Tim. You can call me out. I get it. It's fine. It's fine. Hey, it's fine. It's fine. We're friends.
I would have gladly went if I knew the full details of something, but I'm not gonna get into that on here.
Full
That game,
detail.
actually, I'm so glad I didn't go to that game 1. So actually, it did work out that I didn't go
Full
to that.
details. I told you about it.
No, I know. Just something else. Just
Well, I don't even know what you're alluding to.
I'll let you know later.
Okay, but my one of my good friends, Jack Pettit, he actually saw 2 Devils losses. He saw the first game I went with him at the Rock, and he went to the game 6 at the Garden. He saw
Was he
another
a Devils
loss.
fan?
He is a Devils fan.
Oh well, he's not allowed in the building. We're keeping him out.
No, I know. I made the joke to him. I'm like, so you're gonna show up to game 7? Evidently, he didn't show up. So
Good.
The Rangers didn't win.
I had a couple friends in the building. They were loving it.
Yeah. All right. I think that wraps up hockey talk.
Yeah.
We're going to be bringing more of discussion about this team in future episodes. So stay tuned. And now it's time to talk baseball. And I want you to feel my pain now. Because what is pain if not pain with making others share your same misery? I'm kidding, obviously.
No.
But New York baseball has been very interesting.
Yeah.
And there is one, and this is just from my perspective. There is one New York team that I feel like is on the upswing in terms of they've held the fort and they're getting some guys back. And there's another New York team that seems to be teetering on on a lot of issues and seems to be in a very, very, very tough situation. I'm going to give you the floor to talk about your New York Yankees, Mr. Toomey. What's happening? And in all honesty, to be serious with this, I truly want to know like what is happening, because this is a Yankees team that should be one of the best teams in the AL, and they're just simply not.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the floor. I just had my up of the show, and now we'll go to the my down of the show. But I like to do this every week. I have my notes here next to me, and I write down the records of both our teams and see how they did radio show to radio show. Yankees went 2-5 since we last talked. 2-5. What goes into that? Well, I guess I'll start with this. The big talk. They got to stop calling me. These people, Brandon. They keep calling me.
Who's calling you?
Pest companies, when they used to do stuff in this house. They got to stop bothering me. It's over. The issue's done. They're like the New York Yankees right now. Hopefully they're not listening. No. But 2-5 since we last talked, and the big talk has been that 13 of their big players are on the IL. Now that number's changed because that's 12 now because Harrison Bader is back. What's Harrison Bader going to bring to the team right now? I don't know. Absolutely nothing. Aaron Judge, out. Giancarlo Stanton, out. As much as I don't like him, Josh Donaldson, out. Well, those guys are worth so much money, and they're just not in the lineup. That's terrible. That's a start. Pitching. It doesn't exist. We'll start with there. Garrett Cole is Garrett Cole, and he's doing his thing. He's the only consistent aspect of the New York Yankees right now. I just double-checked in my head. Yes, that is absolutely 100% true. There's no one else playing consistent baseball. They're missing so much bullpen help. Scott Efros from the Cubs, not playing. Lou Trevino from the A's, not playing. That trade we made with the A's to get Lou Trevino and Frankie Montas, somehow the A's won by getting JP Sears, and I don't even know what else.
Somehow. Insane.
Frankie Montas, when he played, he was dealing with a lot of stuff, and we'll give him that. He was dealing with family issues and injuries last season. We'll give him that. But now he's not playing. He's injured. Lou Trevino, out. I don't even know what they're going to do. Some of these guys, I know these guys year to year, the Yankees. I watch a ton of Yankees baseball. I know them on the roster. Some of these guys, I have no idea who they are. Finally, last night, they have a great game. Pitching-wise, Domingo Germán comes out of his shell for the first time this season. Carved up a good Guardians baseball team. Sadly, I didn't get to watch the end because all I saw was I heard. I got alert, Yankees blow game. I go, all right, I don't know what happened. I don't care. They stink. He was at 88 pitches going into the ninth. up 2-0, dealing like he was. Brandon, you're a head coach of the team. 88 pitches. You do have a good bullpen. You got guys. You got Wandy Peralta, who's last year was a hell of an arm. Hell of an arm. He had like a 1 point high, 1 point ERA. He was good last year. Very good. Clay Holmes started the season as probably the best closer in baseball. You got that guy. Loizaga last year wasn't good. 2 years ago was one of the best relievers in baseball. All right. It makes sense to take a guy out, maybe put an arm in, but now Boone gets the arrow point at him because guys aren't doing their jobs. It's easiest to blame the coach, but really no one's performing. The team is, I do like to say the story. I always say you cannot start complaining until you're 40 games in. But
We're pretty damn close. We're pretty damn close.
Bad. And I didn't even mention the big one. You are last in the AL East.
That's the see, like,
I'm glad I got to end the icing on the cake right there.
Yeah. So here's the thing, right?
Last in the AL East.
The big things that stand out to me, right? And you make all the solid points. One, the pitching. Okay, that's not great right now, but you're supposed to get Rodon back. You're going to get Severino.
Setbacks.
Both?
Rodon. Yeah.
Setbacks. You know what? All right. Recalibrate. Yeah, I'm very worried.
I didn't even mention that. How many more things do I have to mention?
It's just like insane. You just lost Aaron Judge, who I saw a stat today. The Yankees, their injured list payroll is more than like 10 teams in all of Major League Baseball. It's like
their injured list payroll is probably more than their starting roster now.
Your prospect in Anthony Volpe is because Yankees fans just seem to want to kill every single young player's confidence. They're not going to give him a chance to succeed. I hope the Yankees stick with him regardless.
And he hasn't. You know what? He's really picked it up.
He's not doing terrible. That's the thing. Yeah. He is adding value. Your lineup, though, overall, not getting the job done. On top of a bullpen, not sure what's going on with Clay Holmes. Dude's completely regressed to where he was from last season. Your bullpen's not getting anywhere near the outs you need to get them. And here's the problem. You're already 8.5 games out of first place.
That's a big jump.
To me, it is May 2nd. I get it. Here's my thing. It is still so damn early in the year.
You're 30 games in the season. You're 8.5.
But here's my thing. It's balance. It's nuance, right? There's still so many games left. Over 120.
132 to be exact.
But there is a saying, not a saying, but there's something to the fact of how big is too big of a hole. How big is too big of a hole? When you're dealing with the injuries, when you're dealing with lack of production, and you're already dealing with the best division in baseball, where the first place team is 23-6, the Orioles are 19-9, the Blue Jays are 18-11. You don't only have to catch those teams. You have to catch a Twins team, right? You have to catch the Rangers, apparently, who are great this year, even though Jacob deGrom, and we'll get to deGrom in a little bit. The Astros, I mean, even the Angels are ahead of you right now. You are going to have to play in Atlanta Braves, Philadelphia Phillies second half level baseball to get back to your expectation level. This is not a wild card team. That's not what this team was made to be. This is not, we're going to barely make it into the playoffs and call that a day. You have one of the highest payrolls in baseball. It's very, very, it's not good right now. And and just the way I look at things, I'm not going to say it's DEFCON 1. I'm not going to say it's Panic City. They need to unload the roster, call up all the young guys. Season's over. But I hate to say it, you're a lot closer to that than I think a lot of people would want to believe.
What I will say.
And that's the problem. That's the big problem.
It just adds to this. This 15-15, that was their record in August last season. Pretty much. Close to it, as close as you can get possible. Last season, the beginning of the half, we got lucky. We had one of the greatest first halves of any team of all time. So that's why it's not the end, but you'd rather start where they started last year than they are right now, obviously.
Here's the problem, though. And next week's show could be very, very rant level for you. Here's their upcoming schedule. They have the Guardians for 2 more.
Yep.
They have the Rays for 3.
That's a test.
They then have the Athletics for 3. And then their next 2 series, which amount to 8 games, are against the Rays and Blue Jays.
So you said Guardians 2, Rays 4, A's 4.
Rays 4, Blue Jays 4. Your season could be your
series?
What?
What with all these 4-game series?
I don't know. My bad. The first Rays series is 3.
Oh, okay.
So it's 3, 3, 4, 4.
Let's see.
Buddy,
17.
Buddy, your season could be over by mid-May.
Oh, stop it.
If
they lose all of them.
No, I'm saying you lose most of them. You're in like a 12-13 game hole in first place. I'm not saying you're not a playoff team, but you can kiss that AL East division bye. If
I just wrote a number. They got to win 10 to 12 of the next 17. I'll be happy with that.
Can
do
they
I think
do
they
that?
will? Right now, no.
No, but like that's the thing. With Aaron Judge hurt, it's you know what? Pull up the current Yankees lineup.
They probably just sent someone before to me actually about who's starting today. But no, I'll go to it too. And the biggest thing is not Judge's hurt. It's that he's such a big guy, and we've seen this before. It's going to linger.
It is going to linger. We've seen this with him year after year.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
All right. Lead off Volpe.
Okay.
I want to have their numbers next one too. So Volpe batting first. Torres batting second.
Okay.
Rizzo batting third. They don't have that up yet. LeMahieu batting fourth. Harrison Bader batting fifth. First game back. You hear that list? That's funny. Willie Calhoun batting sixth. Willie, welcome to. He's been batting fifth, sixth for this team the past couple weeks. That's absurd.
This dude got cut from the Rangers.
Oswaldo Cabrera batting seventh, he hasn't done much. He should be doing more, but you can't ask Oswaldo Cabrera to put the Dinos back.
No.
Jose Trevino batting eighth. He's not there to hit. He's there to catch. And lastly, our favorite Yankee, Aaron Hicks batting ninth.
They're still playing him. Oh my!
They have to. Who else?
Is Bowers hurt?
Who?
Jake Bowers. Didn't they just call him up?
Did they really? I don't even know what a Jake Bowers is. Jake Bowers? I thought I saw something about.
I mean, he ran. He made an amazing catch, ran into a wall. I wasn't sure if he got put on the IL.
No, it's Aaron Hicks tonight and Cole on the mound. So,
to me, that team isn't winning 10 or 12 with like 7 against the Rays and 4 against the Blue Jays. I'm sorry, like
that might be one of those lineups in baseball.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
The A's.
I'm sorry. That lineup's not scaring me, especially against a Rays team that has been one of the best hitting teams in baseball, a Blue Jays team that is a Bo Bichette and Matt Chapman that are having career years at this point. But this is what I'm saying. The Cards are not not looking great. The fact that you're having these injuries, the setbacks, and now you're facing a gauntlet of your division, there's a legitimate shot that first place lead, you are 10 out. And you're already close to that.
It could be more. I really see it being more at the end of this.
So, hypothetically, and after this, we'll move on to the Mets.
Yeah.
Hypothetically, let's say, all intents and purposes, you take 2 or 3 from the Guardians, or you lose 2 or 3, but you battle them hard, right?
Okay.
You then lose 2 or 3 to the Rays. And obviously, I'm not going to try and predict the rest of the division, but at that point, you're probably, 11.5 out? At that point, 10.5 out?
Yeah, you would be.
Let's say for all intents and purposes, you sweep the Athletics. Those 8 games against the Rays and Blue Jays in mid-May may basically decide what, one, the roster looks like for the rest of the season, 2, who your manager is for the rest of the season, and 3, like, for example, and to put it like this, Yankees 15 games out, Jason Dominguez is getting called up a lot sooner than people think. Because guess what? Why not? You're not in contention anyway. He figures it out that you have your center fielder of the future.
I'm not against that.
Like this is what I'm saying. You play Peraza every day. You play Volpe every day. You let them get your feet wet. Because guess what? Yankees 15 games out, that pressure isn't there. No one's giving a crap. Everyone's going to be
hopes for this season, though. It can't end that way.
But that's what I'm saying. This, unfortunately, with the way things have stacked, and I'm not saying it's going to happen. I want to get that straight. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but the potential is there for things to spiral out of control very, very fast.
No, you made it. I guess next show we'll find out, right? Next show is where we'll see. But no, this lineup's not competing with anyone. Hopefully, Garrett Cole throws 8 shutout innings, then they bring in a reliever who can actually close a game.
But that's the thing. It's like it's not just injuries; it's the self-inflicted wounds and stuff like that. On the other side of New York, I'm not saying the Mets are without their problems, because trust me, they are. I feel a lot more confident about the Mets than I do the Yankees, and that is from a that's from a distance perspective. Why? Well, Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander are both back this week, and somehow relying on David Peterson and all these guys, the Mets, even with losing 2 of 3 to the Atlanta Braves, they split the doubleheader yesterday. They're only 3 games out of first place.
Big.
With all the injuries, all the crazy things that have happened. 1, the Mets are only 3 games out. 2, they're getting their pitching back. So now Kodai Senga is not going to be relied upon as your number 1 as he's trying to adjust to the major league level. You're going to get Carrasco back, which I'm not a fan of, but he's another arm. McGill looks like he's settling in. I hope to get something from David Peterson in the future. I hope the majority of the bullpen outside of Adam Ottavino and David Robertson settles in, specifically a guy like Drew Smith. But most importantly,
let's hear it.
Oh my goodness, the Mets actually started listening to me.
Can I guess what it is?
Yeah.
Does it have to do with Nito?
Kind of.
Okay.
Brett M. Effin Beatty.
There you go.
Oh my goodness. It's like he was one of the most highly regarded prospects in all of baseball for a reason. No way. To me, he is currently hitting .333 with a .381 on base percentage, a .538 slugging, and a .919 OPS. He has 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, 3 walks, only 12 strikeouts. The kid is hitting over 400 in his last. I forgot the stat, but
gotta be last couple.
Over his last, I think, like 10 games.
That's solid.
He has been one of the best Mets hitter, if not the best Mets hitter on this roster. I was pounding the damn table for the first month of the year to give this kid consistent at-bats and to call him up. What happens when they do? Oh, my goodness. It's like the lineup has more depth and is stabilized. That's crazy. No way. Some of the other guys, Pete Alonso, 248. He has 11 bombs, 28 RBIs. Still having a good year. Lindor, 215. I want that to get up a little bit, but he does have 13 walks, 4 bombs, 22 RBIs himself. Eduardo Escobar, numbers aren't great, but he had a pinch hit home run yesterday coming off.
I'm sorry, cut you off. Francis, he's got 22 RBIs, been at 215.
It's been a weird year.
How's that possible? How's that even?
I mean, he
I
has
guess he's good with runners in scoring position.
I mean, he still has a 755 OPS.
I guess he's just crushing the ball with runners on, and that's what you
Yeah.
want to see. That's more important than big hits that do nothing.
Exactly. I mean, hey, I'll take it. I'll take the production.
That's a shock this early in this. 29 games in, about a 215 with 22 ribbies.
Yeah. I'm happy with Eduardo Escobar starting to seemingly find himself. I think him in a utility role, a bench role, he's going to actually be able to hit and do better. Another guy that stands out to me, Brandon Nimmo, still hitting 320, still being an above average defensive outfielder. Jeff McNeil's raking again, ho-hum, 304. He has a 859 OPS with Nimmo's 875. Some other guys, Daniel Vogelbach, 815 OPS. Great stat for him. Obviously, we want to see a bit more power. Only has 1 home run. I'll be real with you. I will take it. And then we arrive at Francisco Alvarez and Tomas Nido. To me, if I see Tomas Nido starting multiple games for this Mets team again, I'm driving the Flushing Queens myself, and I'm finding Buck Showalter and getting in a screaming match with him.
Wait outside his car. There you go.
Wait outside his car. Francisco Alvarez roped a go-ahead double and is starting to figure it out. There are stats out there. He has better defensive metrics than Tomas Nido. Why are you still playing the guy? I don't know. I'm not trying to turn into Frank the Tank here, but I just play the kids. Play the damn kids.
I guess the question is, why is he playing so consistently, right?
The only way I feel like Nido should get in is spelling Alvarez at catcher. Alvarez needs to be the far and ahead starter, because what's the reason they're playing Nido? Oh, he's better defensive catcher. The metrics say that Nido is a worse defensive catcher than Alvarez. Where are your legs to stand on? I'm gonna pull up these stats real fast.
Catchers do need off days though, so Nido does have to see the lineup.
No, that's fine. But I'm saying it's like
as often as he is.
Alvarez should not be catching every one game to Nido's 2, or every you know what I mean by that.
No, I hear you on that. It is tough.
There were some stats tweeted out earlier in the day.
Higgy, I'm trying to think how much Higgy plays. Higgy plays once or twice a week. I mean, both of them can't really hit at all. So
Alvarez and Nido grade out as +1 on pass balls and wild pitches. Alvarez is in the 94th percentile on pitch framing. Nido is in the 49th. Like, Alvarez and Nido are tied 16th best on blocking. Alvarez is 17th out of 58 in pop time, 12th out of 55th in pitch framing. Why? There's no legs to stand on for Nido being the starter. I'm not saying because you need a backup catcher, but I want a backup catcher that can hit. I don't want a backup catcher that basically bunts. Like,
finding catchers that can hit is a dime a dozen.
The funny thing is, they have the perfect guy on the roster. He's just hurt. They have Omar Narvaez.
Oh,
he's just hurt. He's just hurt right now. I think it's like July.
Oh, yeah, that's late.
But it's like you have that guy on the roster.
Now the question is, what's going to happen when he comes back, though?
They probably get rid of Nido. That would be my move.
I'm just messing with
you. No, it's a valid question. 100%. I'm just of this thought process, and this even goes beyond like Alvarez, but like Mark Vientos, guys hitting over 350 in AAA. I feel like he could give you better at bats than Mark Canha or Tommy Pham. I feel like later in the year, if Ronnie Mauricio is still raking, why not give him a shot in left field? You see a team like the Braves do this all the time. Bring up their young guys and they start raking. You're starting to see that with the Mets, with Brett Beatty, and Alvarez starting to figure it out. You play your top guys that have been producing. Most of the time, they're going to figure it out. At the end of the day, that's just how it is. And I guess to round it out, looking at the pitching, David Peterson's got to figure it out. Senga and McGill, I think, will figure it out. They both are 3-1 with ERAs over 4. That's very, very interesting.
Yeah.
David Robertson's been legit. 0.68 ERA in 12 games. Has 13 innings pitched with 18 Ks and only 3 walks. Joey Lucchesi has a 2.19 ERA. Drew Smith, 2.45 ERA. Ottavino, 270. Jeff Brigham, that's jumped up. Same with Dennis Santana. Nagasic, in 4 games, he has a 2 ERA. You know, like, there's you want a little bit more consistency out of the bullpen, but I think getting your Scherzer, your Verlander back, hopefully getting some guys off the IL in the bullpen, in the long run, that'll help you. And I guess overall with the Mets, I'm not going to make judgments yet because, one, they're above 500. They're 16-13. Number 2, they're getting their guys back. And I explained this to some people I've talked to. I'm not going to make a full judgment on this team until they're fully healthy, and then they're doing bad. And then they're having the same issues. And then they're not reaching that echelon. But they showed against one of the best teams in baseball. They didn't get smoked. They hung tough with them. They lost 9-8 and won, I think, 5-3.
That's what you got to do. You got to split with teams like that.
You can't ask for much more out of them. And especially with the schedule coming up, they play the Tigers, the Rockies, and the Reds, and the Nationals before facing the Reds. Or before facing the Rays, not the Reds. Getting tongue-tied today, my friend. Must have been all the ranting from the Rangers. But go win those games. Go pad that record a little bit. That's all you can ask.
It sounds like there's light at the end of the tunnel for them.
Yeah.
There's a light. They can go for it. With the Yankees, that's a dark tunnel right now. They got to keep on walking. I mean, for a team, too, that went the longest with the series winning streak to be 15-15 right now, it's very strange.
It is a very interesting time, but at the end of the day, with baseball, it's a long season. It's a very interesting season, and we're going to be talking about it a lot more. But before we move on to what we're looking forward to the rest of the week, I got to say, I might have really dropped the ball with the with the Cardinals pick, because I'm looking at my division picks right now. I think we both picked the Yankees to win the East, right?
I have it right here. Yes, we did.
Okay. That one, no one saw coming.
Here,
So that one's not looking great. Guardians are still in striking distance. My Mariners are they're 5 out, but that's nothing that they can't overcome. Goodness gracious, man. The Cardinals are already 10 games out of first place. And I don't know. That's the one. I feel like I completely whiffed. Couldn't tell you why everything's gone wrong.
Miko lost for them, the starter, the other night, came out with a quote, and it was bad. He was like, "We're a team that I myself like to talk a lot on the mound, and it's embarrassing for me to talk when we're losing so bad." And he's like, "We're a bunch of guys that came here to win, and it just isn't happening." And it's like everyone is just shocked, and we do not know what to do. He legit came out and came like, "We're so confused right now. Like, don't know what is happening with this team, but it's not looking good, and we have to figure it out right now, or else something's going to happen here. It's not going to be good."
That is the last team that should be in that position. The last team. Like, look, the Yankees are in last place. Most divisions in baseball, they're a second or third place team. They just the hand that they were drawn. Yeah, good division. They're still in the wild card hunt. It's not like they're out of the playoff contention. I couldn't. We could spend another damn hour on this show. I couldn't explain to you what happened with the Cardinals between deciding to randomly send Jordan Walker back to the minor leagues when he's still hitting above 270. Yeah, that happened last week.
Why? Is he hurt?
No. Logjam of outfielders. Defense.
If you can hit, you got to be in the lineup. That's the one rule of baseball.
Like I said, I don't know. I couldn't explain their slide to you.
That's the one rule of baseball. If you can hit, we will find a spot for you in the lineup.
That's
like the golden rule. Just be a hitter. There's a DH spot for a reason now in the NL.
Exactly. And to put it like this, I knew that the Cardinals pitching would be a problem. I didn't think it'd be like this. Maybe that's the pinpoint. But hey, at the end of the day, man, as Evan explained earlier on the show with betting, you win some, you lose some, and sometimes you lose some badly. But that brings us to our last part of the show. What we're looking forward to this week. I'm going to start. I'm looking forward to, of course, not seeing the Rangers playing hockey. I'm being sarcastic. Please don't take that too seriously. In all seriousness, NHL playoffs. I want to see the Edmonton Oilers. Connor McDavid is going to start scoring sooner rather than later. I'm going to put money on it. I'm going to do something that I forgot to bring up earlier in the show because I am smart. We're going to do our MLB picks of the day live here on the show because
real fast. I'm sorry.
Yeah, what's up?
15 minutes ago, Carlos Rodon has setback. Can't get over that final hump. Seek more medical options. Opinions.
Bro.
Medical opinions.
Bro.
Yeah.
How much money did they spend on him?
Threes. He was in the threes, wasn't he? No, twos? High two?
I think it was the high 150s, low 2s.
While you're go throwing, I'm gonna go find his contract.
So, MLB picks of the day. I'm taking Mets -1.5. They got Lucchesi. Lucchesi's been great for them. We are also going to take. We're going to take. I'm going to avoid that game because Garrett Cole's on the mound. I'm not sure. I'm going to take Minnesota Twins money line. The Chicago White Sox are an embarrassment to baseball, and I've never seen anything like it. They allowed 10 runs in an inning after having a no-hitter up until that point. I'm then going to go with the over in the Reds-Padres game. And then to round it out, I am going to take the Chicago Cubs money line over the Washington Nationals. That is a 4-leg parlay. We're going to put $2 on it. That would win us $20 total dollars. That is our bet of the day.
Very nice.
So to round it out, NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, very fun. There's not much football talk going on. And honestly, that's it. Yeah, and I'm excited to see how the Mets continue to play. Brett Beatty for NL Rookie of the Year, even though I didn't bet on that.
Very nice. Very, very nice. No, what I'm looking forward to, both playoffs, both sports. Got a big game, Devils Wednesday, 7 o'clock against the Canes in Carolina. That's big. Not looking forward to watch the Yankees. Probably not go watch the Yankees tonight because that lineup is just embarrassing. Other stuff, hey, you didn't mention, we got UFC at The Rock.
Yes.
Convention Center right now. We got some UFC at The Rock.
Yeah, but we're not even going to be able to watch it like that.
No, we're not.
We have an event.
And you know what? I'm looking forward to maybe. No, I'll save it for later. And you know what? No, it's we're almost graduating college.
Yes.
I might join the Rangers down in Cancun. Book a nice flight. Go hang out down there. It'd be nice. Get some golf. We love golfing, right?
Damn, you're not inviting me? That's crazy.
You can come. You can go rip on the team if you want. Go for it. They'd love to hear it from you.
I'd love to go to Cancun. That'd be great.
No, but really, not much. I mean, just playoffs. I'll still keep watching my golf. I don't know. Just it's a great time for sports right now and enjoying it.
Yeah, the UFC event. I'm so excited. It's back in Jersey. I hope they consistently keep doing that. It's great when it's at MSG. It's going to be great when it's in Jersey as well, because MMA is huge here too. That brings us to the end of the show, guys. Like we said we're gonna keep you guys updated with all the latest sports talk, all the latest news. So stay tuned for that. Also, we have a new Instagram, new Twitter. Follow us. I think it's TCN or CTNS _ show. Make sure to follow us there. So yeah, for myself, for Toomey, thank you guys for joining us on another great episode. It's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. We'll catch you next time. Have a great night.
See ya.